What's going on, guys? Today I'm attempting to answer the question a bunch of you have been asking. I've been asking it too. How much do coaches matter in NHL 24 franchise mode? Personally, I feel like they're super OP and they matter honestly more than like a superstar player. So that's what we're going to find out today. I'm actually using the New York Rangers here. I went through and looked at all the team overalls and they're actually tied for the highest rated team with the Boston Bruins. Thing is, Boston has two insane goalies in All-American Swayman, which I think kind of artificially boosts their overall. So really, Rangers probably are the most stacked team in game, at least on paper. So for this video, guys, what I'm thinking is we're going to fire the Rangers head coach, which is A overall, promote the AHL head coach, who has a C, as in real life, often, like the AHL head coach will get called up to be the NHL head coach. And you guys can see here, the AHL head coach I called up isn't terrible. Like, he's got an A+ power play, B- coach influence, but definitely compared to like regular head coaches, he's below average. So what I'm thinking is, guys, we're going to simulate the first season a few times with this C overall head coach and see how the Rangers do, and then compare that to a few simulations with the worst rated team in the game when they have an A+ head coach and see which team does better. And now before I start the simulation, guys, I'll show what the Rangers team is looking like. I was just thinking too, I like already set the lineup, but I probably should just do head coach preferred lines because this video is trying to find out how much the head coach matters. Let's use each coach's preferred lines. If we do that, you can see there it's a little bit different, but basically what we had it before. Now looking at this forward group, Panarin obviously leading the way, like really no holes. We even got a solid fourth line. Defensively, of course, 92 Adam Fox, there's unreal. Miller, like they actually have no bad defensemen, probably one of the better defensive depths in the league. Shesterkin there, 92 overall starting goalie. This team, even with a C overall head coach, you know, a guy getting called out from the AHL to the NHL, should still be a playoff team, but let's see what happened. All right, guys, so I just finished the first simulation. As you can see there, we had a record of 37, 36, and 9. So really not too great for a 92 overall team. Hurricanes there actually won the Stanley Cup. I mean, one simulation in, it looks like, you know, the head coach has quite an impact. I should point out too, guys, even though our head coach overall was a C, we had really good staff chemistry of 84%, but I feel like that clearly doesn't matter as much as the actual head coach. And now looking at the standings here, guys, the first simulation, you can see we actually got second last in the division, only did better than the Flyers by 4 points. I think the entire league, Vegas there got first overall. I want to say we finished 12th last. Yeah, we got 21st there. So the Rangers should be doing better than this, although the Maple Leafs also had a down year, and I think they probably had a decent coach. So sometimes you just get unlucky, which is why we're going to do 3 simulations here and see like what the average is. All right, guys, so I just finished the second simulation. Rangers there, 46, 32, and 4. They actually had a very solid season. I'm kind of surprised. Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. Again, we still had the C head coach. Now, even though they did make the playoffs, unfortunately, they were first round exit there to the Devils. So, just like real life last year. And you look at the standings here, guys, you can see we finished third there in the division with 96 points. And we look at the entire league, Boston there got first, and they got 11th. So much better. And again, they still had the C head coach. So now all of a sudden I'm starting to think maybe it's just completely random, but we'll see what happens in the third sim. All right, guys, so here we go. End of simulation 3. Rangers finished the record of 38, 37, and 7. And the Avalanche actually won the Stanley Cup again. If you couldn't guess already, the Rangers did not make the playoffs, which I think tells you the head coach is pretty significant. I don't think the Rangers should be finishing second last in the NHL 2 or 3 years. Like, they should be one of those top teams for sure. Look at the entire league. Boston actually, again, wins the President's Trophy, and the Rangers there are 22nd. So, like, they didn't finish dead last or anything. Their team's too good for that. But the fact, you know, 2 to 3 years with a pretty stacked team. Again, they were tied for the highest rated team in the league with the Boston Bruins, who in 2 or 3 years won the President's Trophy, and in 2 or 3 years they're missing the playoffs. I think just kind of shows what kind of impact the head coach really has. And like I mentioned before, guys, next we're going to use the worst team in the league, which is the Chicago Blackhawks, with the best possible head coach. If you guys look here at the ratings, they are 82 overall. Next lowest team, I think, is the Sharks. They're 83. If you look at the East, I think the lowest rated team is the Montreal Canadiens, 85. So, like, the Blackhawks there are severely underrated compared to everybody else. All right, guys, so next I'll you look at the Blackhawks lines. Again, I tried to, like, optimally set them up here to see how that compares to the head coach preferred lines. I can see they're a little bit different. You got Bobley on the first line, at Athanasiou. Again, look at this Blackhawks roster. Like, the forward group there, nobody's above an 81 except for the 3 guys on the first line. Hall, Bedard, Beauvillier. Bedard, 86, medium franchise. We're looking at to carry this team. Hall as well. He'll be healthy all year because I've got injuries turned off. Those 2 guys, though, are going to do a lot of heavy lifting. Defensively, you got Jones, 87. After that, not a ton. Korchinski's an 80, though, with medium elite, so he could grow. You got Philip Roos there, Murphy, Zaitsev, Tenorti. In goal, Mrazek's the starter. 83 overall, actually, a bit higher than I expected. So this team should definitely not be even sniffing the playoffs. Now, I kind of looked out here. I was going to have to basically keep like re-entering franchise mode until I finally got an A head coach. Luckily, my first try I did. So you don't usually get an A+ head coach. I feel like pre-stat here as an A should be like enough to kind of give us an idea. Staff chemistry is kind of low at 58, but you can see A+ coach influence. That's the most important stat for a coach. Also A+ teaching there on a young team. A+ offense. This should give us a pretty good idea. Like, he's not a B or B-, anything like that. So let's find out what happens when you have an A head coach with a really bad team. Alright guys, so after the first simulation, nothing too shocking there. Blackhawks finished with a record of 34, 39, and 9. In real life, they'll probably do worse than that, but, I mean, still, it's a negative record. They're missing the playoffs. And I was actually surprised to see Hall there as his team scoring leader, beating up Bedard. And if you look at this team in the division, they got second last there, 77 points, only doing better than the Preds. Entire league. Oilers there actually win the Presidents. Three-way tie with the Avs and the Lightning. And the Blackhawks there finished 29th. So even with an A head coach, they still finished around where you'd expect them to. Not nearly as bad though as the Flyers, the Capitals. Maybe they would have been in the 50s and the 60s with a C, even B head coach. So I'll try a couple more sims here and see if they can ever squeak in. Alright guys, after simulation 2 here, again we have a negative record, but still it's not terrible. 35, 39, and 8. Again, the Avs win the Stanley Cups. It seems like the sim really likes them in Boston here in the first year. We'll take a look at where we're in the standings. Taylor Hall actually outscored Bedard once again. We actually got 6th in our division this time, above both the Coyotes and the Predators. The entire league. The Avalanche also won the President's Trophy on top of winning the Stanley Cup. And we finished 26th there. So, I mean, we did better than a lot of teams that are higher rated than the Blackhawks. But next year, guys, we'll see what happens in our third and final simulation of the Blackhawks. Alright, guys, so the third simulation was a pretty similar result. Blackhawks there had a record of 34, 39, and 9. A little below 500, but not a terrible season. Canucks, actually, win the Stanley Cup. So, let's see here. You got Seth Jones leading the team in scoring. That's honestly pretty surprising to see. The team there, again, second last in the division, but 77 points. Like, it's not a terrible year. I really do think if the Blackhawks had a worse coach, they'd be doing a lot worse. Because, like, they're not getting embarrassed out there. You know, they're being competitive while still finishing lower in the league standings. You guys can see this time around they were 27th. Teams like Calgary, though, and Buffalo, even, wow, Vegas Golden Knights finishing below them. So, obviously, there's a lot of luck at play. As Vegas was literally a President's Trophy winner in one of these sims, and now they're finishing second last. But pretty consistently, Blackhawks weren't doing too great, even though they had the A head coach. Alright guys, so in conclusion, what I think these results show, number one, the most important factor is still luck. That's the only thing that explains Vegas both winning the President's Trophy and finishing second last in like the same first year simulation. Number two is actually your team, which is good to see. Consistently, the Rangers did better than the Blackhawks, having the 10 overall better team, even though they had the much worse coach. And then the third most important factor is the coach. Now, having said that, the coach still plays a pretty significant role. I feel like the Rangers clearly underperformed in all three simulations we did with them based on their rating due to that C head coach. And the Blackhawks were clearly overperforming at least a little bit with that A head coach. So if you have a team you're trying to tank with, you definitely don't want, you know, an A head coach. I would probably recommend getting the worst coach you can and just fire him once you're finished tanking. That way you give yourself the best chance of finishing at the bottom of the standings. And on the other side, if you're actually trying to go for it, trying to compete with a team like the Rangers, you want at least a B head coach, if not an A. Otherwise, your coach might be holding you back. So let me know your guys' thoughts on these results in the comment section below. Do you think the coach influences the game the right amount? Do you think they're too OP? Do you think they don't influence it enough? Let me hear from you guys in the comments section. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this one, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the sub button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.